Okay, so in the first video, I gave you a clear working definition for what a foreclosure is so that you can understand how pre-foreclosures work in light of the general concept of a foreclosure. I also shared with you the 6 stages of a foreclosure and explained to you very clearly and emphatically that based on those 6 stages, most likely, if you're going to invest in pre-foreclosures, you're going to begin your marketing and your campaigning to the homeowners that are in foreclosure somewhere between stage 2 and 3 leading up to stage 4, which is when the auction will take place. And at that point, it's no longer a pre-foreclosure. It's technically sold to someone else or it's given back to the bank, and that would be considered an REO, a bank-owned property. So we're looking somewhere between stages 2 and 3 leading up to 4. I would prefer maybe 3 to 6 weeks before the auction, because now I already know other investors have already reached out and communicated to them, maybe at stage 1, maybe at stage 2, throughout stage 3. A lot of them may have fallen off, may have not been able to provide any solutions, and now they're at the back end with only just a few weeks away. But I have a system, I have an infrastructure and a team that we're able to expedite the process in the event we can negotiate a deal. So I love the end of the 3rd stage, maybe 3 weeks to 6 weeks before the 4th stage, which is when an auction has already been scheduled and there's a foreclosure looming. So that's the sweet spot for me. So now I want to answer another important question. What does investing in pre-foreclosures require? Well, even before we get into the technical aspects of what investing in a pre-foreclosure require, let me say this. It definitely requires empathy. It requires compassion. It requires patience. And it also requires understanding towards homeowners who are experiencing literally like an overwhelming amount of distress. So outside of all the technical requirements for investing in pre-foreclosures, we need to think about the spiritual, the psychological, the mental, the emotional, the interpersonal requirements. It's definitely going to require a lot of empathy and compassion. Why am I saying that? Because they are in distress. Most homeowners who sell their homes in pre-foreclosure don't want to sell their homes. So this is not something they are volunteering to do. Their situations and circumstances are forcing them to do it, perhaps because they are not in a financial or maybe a physical position to make any other decision. And so you need to be very empathetic, very compassionate, very patient, and understanding about it. Now, for me, I'm a straight shooter. I'm black and white. I could be rough around the edges. I'm very hard on myself. But guess what? If I'm speaking to someone who's in pre-foreclosure, I have to throw all that out the window, because that's not the time for me to keep it real and be 100 and I'm going to be a straight shooter. Of course, I'm going to communicate directly, but I'm going to be very empathetic, very compassionate, very patient and understanding, because I see what situation they're in, which for most people, this situation is something that they may have not even asked for. It could have been because they lost a job, because the spouse who was the breadwinner that bought the home and financed the home passed away. It could have been a divorce. It could be so many different life events that have caused this homeowner to be in pre-foreclosure. We've seen many people who have inherited properties from loved ones who passed away, with them not even knowing as beneficiaries of the estate that the home was in foreclosure, and they didn't even ask for that. So if there's a main requirement or a list of requirements outside of the technical aspects of those requirements to invest in pre-foreclosures, I would say you definitely have to have empathy, compassion, patience, and understanding towards what they're being overwhelmed by. Now, of course, there are some technical requirements. One of the most important requirements technically, or should I say legally, is You want to have a relationship with an attorney in the area that you are looking to invest in pre-foreclosures in, so that you can know what the pre-foreclosure laws are in your state, in your county, in that city, in that municipality that you plan on investing in pre-foreclosures. An attorney will know that. You want to know the foreclosure laws, because there are many, many laws in many, many states regarding foreclosures that are designed to protect the homeowners. These are people who are vulnerable. These are people who are distressed. These are people who are overwhelmed, who are up under extreme pressure. They have a lot of difficult circumstances that make them vulnerable. And many of them are elderly and just in situations where they can't make the normal decision that a homeowner who decides to sell their home can make. And so there are laws protecting them. So the first and most important technical or legal requirement to invest in pre-foreclosures is to get you a good attorney. Now, there's a whole list of other people that I want you to have. And again, all of this I teach in my class, in my workshop, and we talk about on a week-to-week basis with our creative real estate investor mentees, so that you, wherever you are, can know exactly how you need to approach it. But I would say at the top of that technical / legal list would be an attorney. You want to have an attorney because you want to know the laws regarding pre-foreclosures, and you want to make sure that as you begin your process of marketing and campaigning and reaching out to these individuals, the do's and don'ts. There are things that you should say. There are things that you should not say. There are promises you should not make. There are certain language you should not use. And there are certain documents and paperwork that you need to have, especially if you are adding to your pre-foreclosure investing any creative activity like subject to or creative finance. These are definitely ways that many investors like myself acquire pre-foreclosures, and your documents and your disclosures are going to be very, very important. And again, if you need these documents, if you need information and direction on where to start, where to go, and what to use, don't hesitate to click one of the links in the description. Reach out to me and my team. We'll be more than happy to direct you where you need to go and or give you the resources that we have to help you along the way.